Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, or good morning, or even good afternoon, wherever you are in the world right now. It's time for the second part of Super Sunday, the doubleheader of Weekend Warriors here live on Apex Racing TV. I'm Tim Cox with Josh Michelle. So, well, the amalgamation of names there, Charles Michelle and Josh Wilkie in the production trailer. Charles, welcome along. You really like this place? I'm not a massive fan of it. I prefer the old school layout. It's probably Britain's most unloved racing circuit due to its flat nature. That, you know, we've got the normal hills and rolling corners and picturesque landmarks. It's a bit of a boring circuit in some ways, but nevertheless, we do normally weirdly seem to have great racing here.
Yeah, Tim, thanks for having me in. Yeah, it's I do like this track. Like I said, I think we talked about this before. I know a lot of British people just say, yeah, it's just, yeah, you know, there's not much to it. But I think, like I said, I'm a bigger fan of the 200 circuit instead of what we're going to run today as a 300 circuit, the long layout. I think the 200 circuit makes for better racing. But, you know, once again, it's just me, and I just, for whatever reason, just like the track. Of course, there's a couple of trouble spots that we're going to have to talk about over the course of this warm-up here, as qualifying is about halfway going. Yeah, but I think it's going to be some good racing.
It normally is. I mean, I suppose we are sport here in the UK. Alton, Brandsatch, Silverstone, Donington, even Knock Hill, you know, its picturesque scenery. Croft is another one that appears on iRacing, but I'm sure I'll make its way somehow. And even, I hear he's throwing down the gauntlet. iRacing, you scanned Rockingham, you never put it in. We'd love to have that because there's always great racing on the Roval there. Of course, the UK's only oval doesn't exist as a circuit anymore. Could join the family of other circuits that don't exist anymore that are on iRacing. But so before we get really into things, enough of our rambling. So there we go, Marco Panero just going top of the timing sheets by nearly 2 tenths over York Marnie, who hadn't long taken that provisional pole position away from Yang Lin, who suffered during the session very late as well. So dropping in there, hot there. Let's take a look at the championship standings while things are somewhat calm. He says, you watch your little kick-off now. That's what happened in the Formula Fords earlier on. If you didn't join us for that, go back and watch. Very interesting indeed. Marco Panero leads the way, and well, it's nearly 100 points now over Jason Green. Yang Lin in third due to Castro. Fourth, Has been here for the entire season, but a bit of bad luck has gone his way. Alan McCain, he lies in 6th. He's kind of drift himself. A big points disparity in this league generally, except for slightly within Spec 1. Sure, give it more definition. Although I haven't said that. Thomas Render's only 1 point behind McCain. Dantas with Favini and Wood running out that top 10. James Walker, one to watch. Don't think he's with us this week, but always just outside the top 10 for him. Into Spec 2, Ian Gibson. Well, he's looking really, really strong this season. This could well be his year as we've got just 4 rounds left. Paul Jackson and Josh Justice round out the podium spots, but it's very, very tight between those two as who will finish second. Phil Berry, good morning to him. Gets up and races before he goes to work on a Monday morning, does the Aussie. He lies in 4th, but he is 101 points behind Justice. Fudderson, a newcomer to this series, and really ripping up shapes, currently lying 5th overall. Bagliani, Brackerby, another newcomer, Pocock, Newton, and Oos Simpkins rounding out the top 10. Let's have a look at Masters now. Well. Tom Gradwell leads the way. So there, the deafening silence says everything you need to know about that plan. Yogmani in 2nd. I haven't really had people here for most of the season. That's why it's been a bit topsy-turvy this season in Masters. No one really been able to string consistent form together either. Stephen Mitchell lies 3rd. Then it's Bradshaw. Cathcart making it 2 Aussies in the top 5. Long in 5th. Then Fritcher, Murakami, Nunez and Brewster ran out that top 10. Across this today, and well, it's all changed. Yes, again, it's Sergio Girilli has gone to 2nd, Charles.
Yeah, another new name to the, or at least for me anyway, to the Spec Racer League here, the Weekend Warriors. Girilli, obviously, very good time, 10th of a second off of Marco Pinero. Ooh, as we see a little bit, I think that's one of the trouble spots we're going to have to look out for during the course of this race. Is that that really, really awkward chicane after Brundle. This is one thing I like about this track is the corner names are on the track. It makes it much, much easier to keep up with everything.
Definitely commentator friendly, isn't it? In that sense.
It is.
Yeah, little cues for us, and even driver friendly, because you always know what corner people are talking about. Now, due to my longevity of covering the series, we haven't seen Sergio Girilli for a very long time, so great to have him back. Hopefully he's going to hang around for the remainder of the season, even next season. And what we were saying when we joined ourselves and producer Josh as well, that sky looks really, really gnarly. Josh said he didn't think he's ever seen it look so overcast and grey. I don't think I have either.
Well, after we finished the first race, we have our little after party there in the Discord, and I immediately just kind of jumped in, and it was foggy. So I think this fog lifting off of the circuit. It does look very, very overcast. Which, if we want to talk about the upcoming iRacing, the new build coming for the next season, we could probably mention that of some potential changes to iRacing to further increase the realism.
Yes, I think it's a lovely segue, isn't it? Really,
Yeah.
we spoke about apparently rain coming in the next build. Will it be everyone singing in the rain, or will it be people singing rain, rain, go away, come again another day? Remains to be seen. I get this nasty feeling after all this, we need rain, we must have rain. I mean, if you actually stop and think about it, in any series, any racing series, how many races per year have rain in them?
I mean, it's very few. It's especially I do a lot of I follow a lot of series, and the list that I just kind of thinking about, NASCAR, obviously they don't run any ovals in the rain because those cars just won't handle it. They will run the occasional road course if it's not too wet. And I've seen that over the last couple of years. I think they ran COTA one year when it was basically underwater, which was not necessarily the smartest idea. IndyCar will run in the wets, in the wet. Formula One obviously does. They have their wet weather tires, and we see a couple races a year where they have to run full wets. Most of the time, it either is drying or it's raining during the race, so it's not always just a wet track constantly. So if iRacing implements something like that, could make things very interesting.
Well, probably about a year and a half ago, I did have a bit of a sneak peek into it through a driver that had access to a development build to help, obviously, develop iRacing, funnily enough. Hence what's called development build. But there is level, you could affect the depth of water on the track. So there's definitely, I'm sure, going to be elements of that. Well, remains to be seen. But I think this is looking like one of those days where you would have rain, and I think I'm just so fascinated for this series. I mean, sometimes we max the grids out at 62 cars. A smaller grid tonight at 37. No, 38. Smaller.
Small for us. Large grid for pretty much every other series on the circuit.
Yes, absolutely spot on. But I mean, I think it could be fascinating as a neutral for watching series like this. Have 30 on a quiet day, 38 Spec Racer Fords with rooster tails of water and on a drying track, and I think as well it may well affect what we do in terms of tyre strategies potentially, for series like this. So it just opens up to as commentators. Can't wait for it. It opens up to an absolute abundance of options, and especially the endurance races. If you get it raining at the back of the circuit, what do you do? It starts raining. Do you try and eke out another lap or whatever? Well, it makes it more interesting rather than the get in there, run until the fuels run out, change tyres at the same time, so there's no strategy involved. I'm talking about UGT3s, and then just keep running like that. And by the way, check a flag out on that subject, like it is out in qualifying right now. And I think we're normal surface because I can't really see anyone improving out there, unless you can. Although Bobby West late on getting fourth.
There you go.
Where's this vein of form come from, Bobby West? I mean, ran well early in the Formula Fords. Clearly, it's Remembrance Sunday today here in the UK. Remembering everyone who passed away in all the wars, but mostly around World War II. Clearly, performance to remember right now on this Remembrance Sunday is Bobby West, the Brit. I was looking down the order. There's not even really that I can see, and I'm sure you're about to tell me, well, Tim, actually, such and such is out of place, but I can't really see anyone out of place.
Don't see. I mean, Don Toss in P9, it's probably a little low for him.
Yeah, maybe. Potentially, you could argue Jim Brewster down in 34.
Yeah, that seems a little low for Jim. I would agree with that. Josh Justice has been running, I think, better than P32 over the last few races.
Well spotted. Yes, that's a really good point. He's been near the front of Spec too. So.
Rick Wishon not even setting a lap. Is he even in the session?
But we'll find out when we head to the grid very, very shortly.
Oh, hello. Getting the after party started a little early there.
Yeah. There's Jason Green and Jim Brewster. I was just talking about him, funnily enough. It's over streets, but it's Marco Pinero is going to start on pole. And I'm still scouring down. Maybe Brad Cathcart at 28th, and then Alan McCain at 23rd. They're possibly the only ones. But if you look at the front runners we've got here, it's largely the usual gang. So I think it's just because it's a smaller field, it makes it seem like they're closer to the back. But actually, in reality, of when we normally have 45, 50 drivers out here on a regular basis, that actually they're probably about in the right place in terms of position. Just overall, just the fake illusion that they're a back marker when they're anything but. But as we have got. How many seconds we got? 15 seconds left before we can bring up some qualifying results. What are we predicting? You talked about danger spots. Where is the Charles Michel danger spots at Snetterton?
So there's a couple that obviously the going into the hairpin is a turn 2 is a very good passing zone. So I'm really going to look at the start of the race, especially in turn one, because if you take that inside line in turn one, the curb is not quite flat. There's a couple of bumps in there that will shake the car and could possibly kick you wide. You could make some contact. So obviously there, and like I said, that chicane on the back end of the circuit coming after Brundle, it's just really, really tricky to get that thing right. I struggled with that every time I race here. It seems like I'll hit it right one time and then miss it the next 5.
There's a reason for that, Charles.
Because I'm not that good.
Yeah. Because I don't, because I'm exactly the same. We share that commonality, hence why you have us in the contribute and not out on track. But everyone followed it upon the Porsche 911 safety car. Should we run through our runners and riders here today in round 8 of the SRF Weekend Warriors, presented by Ray Esports. It is Marco Panero on pole, with Sergio Girelli on the front row with him. Row 2, top qualifying Masters, Jorg Marni next to Bobby West. Then it's Yang Ji Lin and Jason Green on row 3. Row 4, it's another Spec 1 Masters row with Overstreet and Antonio Race, with Dan Tass and Renders running out the top 10. Row 6 is our highest qualifier, Phil Berry, start next to Jason Perry. Gardini and Wood, not having similar sounding surnames, but they start behind them, with row 8 being Andalo and Gould. Row 9, that's Kurt Nunes and Jeff Fritcher, the All Masters row. And then we've got another Spec 1, Spec 2 row with Jeff Jacobson and our championship leader in Spec 2, Ian Gibson, running out the top 20. Tyler Brackenbury and Caleb Pocock are the All Spec 2 row of row 11. Row 12 is Alan McCain and Tom Gradwell. John Young has Adrio Favini for company. Meanwhile, Stephen Mitchell and Brad Cathcart share row 14. Row 15 and the top 4, they are completed by Alan Johnson and Adam Bradshaw. Johnny Longin is next to Joshua Justice. Keep an eye out for him. We said he seems a little bit low. So does James Brewster and Paul Jackson behind him. Jeff Cantor and Gary Walbolt make up row 13. Unlucky for some, hoping not for them. With Rick Wisher and Michelle Faglini, the last complete row, and row 20. All by himself is Michael Nelson, although Wishin and Nelson have not made the start. The Wishin did grid and then came off the grid, so maybe a bit of a grid start for him. We'll remain to see about that one, but 39 car grid, 37 have made it. Paul Jackson's already bumped someone on the run to the line, but let's get ready to go racing from Snetterton in the UK, as we are green and we are away for 40 minutes of thrills, spills, and action, and already 3 wide, 4 wide. Oh, there's a big one in the background. 2 people caught up. I think it might have been Mitchell, one of the drivers involved in that. I think it might be Justice, the other one, potentially. Everyone making their way through now. Down towards Wilson, and Montreal hard onto the brakes. This normally catches a few people out around here. Cold tyres, the car looping around, of course, the weight all in the rear of these cars. The engine and the gearbox mounted on the rear axle, but other than that, we've made it through cleanly.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, had a couple issues on the start, but like everybody made it through, at least through the hairpin. So we'll get down here to the inside section. We'll say this: there's a lot of forgiveness in some of these corner exits. You get a lot of room to get off of the circuit onto kind of the AstroTurf that's on the edge of the track without taking those 1x penalties.
It is generous, isn't it? But already Panera opening up a half a second lead, then 1.3 second lead. Apologies for these early stages. Fritz just had a good stop. He's at 4. Jim Brusso said about him starting from the back. Well, he's at 5 already. Wow, that's someone who's definitely not hanging around on these early stages, and definitely needs to, just like our leader Marco Panera. I mean, Marnie has made it past Torelli at the start, but even so, that's a frightening lead. I mean, are we going to see another Long Beach style performance here while Marco Panero just walks away and he is in touch with 1.6 seconds? Charles, we haven't even completed 1 lap yet.
I know, it does look like that, doesn't it? Yeah, you know, we talked about Long Beach a couple of seasons ago where he won by 15 seconds, and just it was nobody else could keep up with him, and it kind of has that feel a little bit. There's really only 2 decent sized draft sections here, the front straight, and then after the hairpin you get a nice long run. I guess, and then also the run down to Brundle also. So there's probably three decent ones. So it's not like this is going to be one of those races where you can get a draft pack together and make up ground. So somebody's going to have to step up the pace out of that second group in order to challenge Panero.
As McCain and Brewster just going to battle now. Brewster getting in front of McCain. McCain then returning the favour. Trying it. McCain not content with one into Montreal, trying and almost got done. The meet on Brad Cathcart too, who was caught completely unawares from that one.
Yeah, you can already see McCain's got a little front end damage on the car. He's already made contact somewhere during the course of his the start of his race. So we'll have to just keep an eye out and see if there's we can identify somebody with maybe a little rear damage.
Yes, it's with this sort of situation, you have to try and pick them out earlier rather than later, because normally there's quite a few drivers out there with bruised and bent panels on their machine. To see Florian Darlow now, not the start he would have paid for, dropped 2 places down to 17. Release past Marnie. And Lynn is going to, slot his car through as well.
Yeah, like I said, that's one of those places where you can get a nice tow, and these cars obviously tow very well. Is able to get, Monty just got a little unlucky there, dropped a couple of spots, but still comfortably leading the Masters class, and he's still running P4, and it's obviously 4 minutes into the race. There's a lot of things that can happen here before it's all said and done.
It's a great weekend. Wide from Sergio Giorelli there, the Argentine.
Yeah, it was a little too far wide, I believe. So obviously now he's got the momentum lost. It's going to give Lynn a chance to come to the inside.
Little move there.
Nicely done.
And I think if you want anyone at the front of this train, it's Yang Ji Lin to try and bridge that gap. There's now 1.7. So that's close to 1.8 seconds, isn't it, that Panero's got in these opening couple of laps? Yeah,
it seems like Lynn, over the last month or so, has just really found his form in this car, and it's one of the few people that's really gave, outside of Gustavo Ariel, that's gave Panero much of a challenge.
Well, we've had Duda Castro, I think you could.
Duda Castro's has had a really good run this season. I would agree with that.
But he's just had bad luck on his side, He netcode contacts where he's come off the worst from them, or just minor incidents that have just cost him dearly, realistically. And I think his championship position and points aren't really reflective of where he currently is at in terms of his ability. A real shame, but after we said about all that, the gap has extended even further. They may hold another 4 attempts as Panero is already looking like he's walking away with this one. We've only completed 5 minutes. Scary for the only slight bit of hope is that last time around, Yang Ji Lin did set the fastest lap of the race, and by 1300ths of a second, that is a commanding amount. Compared to Panero, definitely looking to chip into it, but he was aided and abetted by the slipstream, not once but twice. So maybe a little bit of a false reading potentially. Be interesting when they get across the line next time around. Ian Gibson dropping a few places I've just spotted as well. Maybe this is one of the tracks, isn't it, where if you get caught offline to get back onto it again. Actually, no, he's had an incident, so that explains that one.
Yeah, that's let's see, Josh working on some replay here of the Gibson incident.
There you go, right on cue. You asked for it, Charles. So there he is against 909.
So 2 wide into this little tricky chicane. He's on the ends. Oh, that little contact there with the 281.
Yes, Brackenbury.
So Brackenbury. That's. I don't think you want to be on the outside of that. I think it's especially for 2 wide. I think you want to be. I don't know that the switchover is very beneficial. That it's just because that's just a strange set of corners there.
It is a strange set of corners, isn't it? It's
well, I mean, you talk about we always kind of pick on ourselves about kind of about our driving ability and lack thereof. But I do remember a Carrera Cup GB race there a couple of seasons ago, which are pro level drivers in iRacing, and they were struggling with that in Porsche Cup cars. So,
Oh,
several
just spotted,
incidents.
Charles. Sorry to
Yep.
cut across you.
No.
A spin ahead, and I think that's that would potentially is that incident. It's just with gremlins in the system right now. Just overcoming those. But yeah, as you say, yeah, it is such a. I think it's where you sort of you need to be full commitment, almost a
Yeah.
bit of a lift into the left-hander, Brendel. And then Nelson's pretty much immediately. So you have to throw out the anchors, get the car stopped to flick it right. Yeah,
Mhm.
tight right-hander. But the car's just losing momentum, you know, and you got that weight transfer. And I think that's what just, you know, it's that ungodly weight transfer and car being all unsettled when you're throwing out the anchors that causes those mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think you're exactly right there, Tim.
Well, one thing we can definitely agree on as well, Charles, is that's looking like a Move Antonio race on Dantas, and he's going to get that one done as race picks the slipstream from everyone ahead. Bit of a distant tow, but he is within tow range, 7
Yep.
tenths, 8 tenths of a second. He's okay there.
Yeah, it's there we go. I just kind of see that. I'd like to get. I'll kind of pick Josh's brain here a little bit. We can get a nose shot of turn one at some point, just to see that how those curbs look going through there. But yeah, it was a nice move by Race. Obviously, moved up to P8. It's a pretty easy pass. I'm guessing Dantas maybe just was a little slow out of that final corner, which is easy enough to do. We've already seen Dorelli go wide there at the early
Oh, it's
part
been a
of
big
it.
one,
Nope,
Charles. I'm seeing few people telling out there you go.
Yep.
Brewster walking away from the scene of the crime. Alan Johnson, Alan McCain involved in that too. Ian Gibson. Oh, there's quite a few involved. And I think here we go. So,
Yeah.
all looked
So
good
coming in a
initially.
hair. Oh,
Gibson
oh,
loses
okay.
the rear.
Yeah, and it's just that if you're a single monitor driver, you don't see that until you're into the car that's sideways on track. Um, so yeah, it's a shame because it's just really nowhere to go at that point. And so now you're careening the car off in a different direction and people are scattering, trying to avoid it and more cars get collected.
Even on a single monitor, you know, an ultra wide, Charles, it's a strong. It's on those set of corners where triples just pay for themselves infinitely many times over because you can see, get a full field of view, be able to look around the corner over your shoulder. It works a real treat. Since we've seen all these bits happen, on board with Lynn right now. There is our lead at Panera. You can make him out that black and yellow livery in front of us. But Lynn has, well, he's stopped him getting away, certainly as quickly, but he's not gaining on him, and that's a crucial part as well. See this curve you mentioned about?
Yeah, if you just kind of watch this, see there's a little couple of divots there, and there's one right there, right on the edge of right on the exit of the apex. And, you know, if you're too wide through there, or if you're taking a really tight line through there, that car, you see it bounce, and it's it's very touchy, and it doesn't matter what car. I've had GT3s just lost them there because of those bumps.
It's really aggressive, isn't it? Where there's a bit of almost like a wedge where the curb drops away, then it's all of a sudden goes, oh no, I need to be at this level, and just jumps up. So
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially with this best of the rest group that starts at Lynn in second and ends at Dantas in ninth. Whether it's going to catch someone out at some stage during the proceedings, and with 3/4 of this race still left to go, I'm inclined to say yes.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's one of those that the further we get in the race, you'll see people taking more chances for passes, especially in the turn one, because you've got that really long straightaway. You know, going into it, even though it's not necessarily a really heavy braking zone, you do have to kind of brake a little bit to get the car turned in. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me you'll see a car get onto the inside there, kind of like what happened with Overstreet at Willow Springs out of the final corner. Just get in there on that curb and then kick the car out, and if there's somebody on the outside, you're probably into them.
While you were talking, Charles, I was listening to you with one ear, and the other ear was listening to Bobby West's engine note, and there was a definite early shift up when he went into top gear, and I think he's playing this one really, really quietly. So he's dropped more places to start, but that's just actually moving up through the field to third. However, well, let's see if again on run to turn and see if there's any more short shifts. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
But he's maintaining pace in this group. One to watch for, I think.
Yeah, he may be doing a little bit of little fuel saving since he's kind of in this pack and it's available to him. So it wouldn't surprise me in the least. We see him coming out of the hairpin, just, one after the other. So yeah, it's probably a smart strategy. I think there's places here where you can do some fuel saving that might pay dividends to you later on in the race.
I could throw the cat amongst the pigeons, couldn't it? That's for sure.
Very well could.
They've lost the whole chunk of time again. If that following group, Panero faster by over half a second. In fact, more like 0.6 of a second. That's Tiber running alone. I mean, I just don't know where he pulls it out from. You look at the drivers behind him. There are no slouches whatsoever.
That's absolutely true.
All of a sudden he just go for a bit more of a quieter one, then all of a sudden bang, another astounding lap that just nobody can seem to match.
Yeah, and what's funny is I usually get in here a little early and I'll watch quite a bit of practice for this race. He doesn't go out on the track until maybe 5 minutes left in practice. So whatever he's learned and whatever he's doing in preparation for this, he's doing during the week, either on his own or in official sessions. And he just seems like when he gets here, he is just on point every week in, week out.
Nailed it, Charles. Absolutely nailed it. I couldn't put it any better myself. There's sideways on here. I mean, it doesn't even look like he's doing anything special, but
yeah,
yes, when you're on top of your form, that it just make it look so effortless and easy. And like Dantas running a bit wide there, I think he's going to drop off the back of this group. Yes, he is. He's 1.8 seconds and growing. To Antonio Racing. Got the move done a little bit earlier on. I think that was definitively a wise move because this ensured race has stayed in with this, following group. You see how hard they're pushing, but the amount of dust being kicked up on corner exit. Meanwhile, Vini and Darlo going head-to-head down to turn one.
Yep, just a nice easy pass down the front straight. Got it done in plenty of time. Was able to take his normal line into that corner.
Beautiful stuff.
Panero, like I said, it's been the Marco Panero Invitational for the last 2 or 3 seasons, and it's just, we've seen some challenges here and there. Oh, that's Lynn off.
Oh wow, that's a big one.
Oh no, that looks so strange.
It almost looks like a hardware failure.
That's what I was thinking too. It's almost like he just completely missed the corner.
So it all looks okay now. Turns in. Oh.
That definitely looked like a hardware failure, just straight right turn, and that was, and that's the end of that. That's terrible. That's a horrible way to end a race. It really is.
It's brutal, isn't it? Absolutely brutal. And well, I mean, that's surely going to put pay to this group having any form of chance of taking the fight to Panero. Wow, I mean, 4.6 seconds now is the gap. So I think, based on initial pace during qualifying, as you see on the screens right now, the Argentine Sergio Girelli in the 86 car, that's got to be your favourite to take second. Well, at least that's what I think. Why do I say that? We know West is fuel saving.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
Jason
my guess
Green's
is, I was going to say, my guess is West, Overstreet, Green are probably all fuel saving. I think Grace, not sure if he does or not. He may be trying to. Obviously, Monty's probably not. He's probably pushing as he normally does. Durelli, he was 10th off in qualifying, so he's obviously close on pace. Now, obviously, that's qualifying pace and it's not race, so, it's a consistency thing now for 40 minutes. But yeah, we know Green's is fuel saving. Overstreet's probably fuel saving. West, we've seen is probably fuel saving.
Let's not forget, Overstreet absolutely nailed the pit strategy early on Formula Fords.
Yeah, I mean, and Green even, in the interviews even gave her credit. She said, "Yeah, she just nailed it," and our pace was so even. I really didn't have anything. I didn't really have anything to do to get past her.
That is a scheduled stop very early on though for McCain. Yeah, he did have a bit of damage, so I wonder whether he's utilised his low fast repair there during that pit stop.
Yeah, that would make sense. And he's in the window now. The fuel window normally opens around the 12-minute mark, so he's well within the window to go ahead and fuel up and finish the race on this stop, assuming no other problems happen. So he can get his fast repair done and see if he can make up any ground.
See how much the slipstream really takes into effect. Well, our race was just catching a hand over this there, Green, who just contently sat in 6th. That's been since the start of the race. In fact, with Leon injecting himself, it's pretty much shuffled everyone back to how they started, with the exclusion of Overstreet, who's up 2 spots for where she got going. And yeah, Leon has definitely retired, so we're not going to see him again. Obviously, Wishart and Nelson didn't make the start, so Leon, first retirement of the day.
Yeah, and he was 3rd in points or something like that in the championship. So it's obviously a big hit for him. With any chance to try and make up time on make up points on Panero.
Just trying to read the Instagram handle on the back of Bobby West's car there. My aging eyes couldn't quite make it out, but
Really a little wide coming out of the hairpin.
There we go. Come on, Megan. Get a bit closer to me with that and give him a bit of a shout out here. Is that Westy _Esports _racing? I think.
Yep.
Yeah. There you go, Bobby West. So we don't give him anything. But meanwhile, in front of him, big twitch there
from West. Esports racing. There we go.
Wow, there you go. There we go. We got there in the end and got the correct outcome. But that was because he had to check up a bit because Dorelli was slow off the corner and had a bit of a moment, and that's what allowed Marnie to get past.
Yeah, he was wide coming out of the hairpin. That allowed Marnie to get up alongside of him, and I think it was a battle for a couple corners. But I think obviously we've seen Marnie got the job done. Yeah, he just locked up going into the hairpin.
So easy done. And that brought these two side by side, didn't it? And you'll get to see in real time why West needed to sort of check up. It must have gone wide again because look, Marnie then dropped behind. Here we go. This will give us the answer. But that gave him the momentum off the corner. Get the move done up the inside.
Yeah, it was a very nice move by Marnie there. He was very patient. Didn't have it the first time. Managed to kind of stay behind and wait for another small mistake by Dorelli. Was able to make the pass.
Yeah. Mission accomplished. For now. How much
longer
will it last? I don't know. Race has passed Green as well. Or why is passing? Well, he has passed.
Yep, there you go. Yeah, so I didn't think, like I said, I don't think Race is really known for fuel. As we see the curb on the inside there, it's a good example of it. So yeah, I don't think he's really known for fuel savings. So I think he obviously wants to close that gap to Monty as much as he can. So if he can get a couple more spots while the rest of these cars are content to stay in line, that's what he's going to do. He's going to keep moving forward.
Just take a couple of attempts, I'd say, out of Overstreet, just to bridge that gap, give himself that bit of security. Oh, and racing into the corner, nearly rear ends Overstreet. And you saw as well, West taking a bit of a different line there into Agostini. He seems to have come in from a lot wider, like half to 3/4 of a car length wider compared to Dorelli and Marnie in front of him, and even West Overstreet behind, to try and open up the corner. Maybe just carry where he is fuel to. Maybe trying to just carry that momentum as well. Yet again, they swap places at the lead of this train. Panero, we'll just call it 7 seconds because it will be shortly.
Yeah, he's still just extending the gap as Monty's looking to the inside there.
Oh, I
That's
thought that was going to be
close.
a disaster.
Yep. You see Durelli still going wide.
He's hanging on for dear life. To
He really is. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he's pushing much harder than he thought he needed to at the start of this race because Monty's not waiting around, and so yeah, he's struggling just a little bit to try and keep the car in the proper racing line, and that's allowing Pinero to just check out 7.3 now. So it's a Sunday drive for him.
Well, the drivers do have 12x to their name to utilise before they incur a penalty. I do wonder for Sergio Durelli if he's pushing like it is. He's got to be on 3 or 4, I reckon, by now.
Yeah, I would think so. He's it's one of those it's just another lock up there. He's just really late into the hairpin. He's and it may just be because he's just now back in the series, trying to get readjusted to the car. As you see him wide again, it's kind of a copycat lap with what we saw a little earlier. So yeah, they've got yeah. I mean, like I said, this track's pretty forgiving, but I think he's pushed past that forgiveness at this point. As far as track limits.
Bit of an early stop there for Tyler Brackenbury. It's up and running yet again. John Young, another relatively newcomer to the series, but again, stopping a little bit early. McCain in. Is that the second time we've seen that McCain in?
This is the second time.
Hold on.
Yep.
He's not pulling in, so that's it.
Drive through.
Just spoke about them.
Yep. Part of that was contact with McCain because we did see damage on his car. And we did see him in a couple of instances. So, that 12X includes not just off tracks, but also spins and contact with other cars.
It's wicked, isn't it? I mean, I am genuinely worried about Durelli, and it'd be a real shame for him, on the return to the series, to have it, taken away from him. Oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, did you just notice that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. I said, hey, we've got a change for P3 overall. Bobby West is up there. It's past Monty somewhere on the track.
Let's have a look.
All right, so let's see here. So we got he tracking behind Monty.
Well, I've had on here from producer Josh that they exchange a little bit back and forth.
Let's see. So inside line going into the chicane in the Brundle. There we go. So pass made.
Is he a bit slow off the corner? No, gets it
No,
done.
it looks so good so far.
I think the back and forth must come down the start-finish trip because we've seen time and time again the run you get down there.
Yeah, you get a really good toe down that front straight. So I would imagine that's probably what we're going to see here.
I mean, he eats up Durelli for breakfast, doesn't he? You see yet again Durelli is kicking onto that. So does West.
So he followed Durelli into the dirt there, and it slowed both of them down. Is this where we're going to see Monty didn't make up as much gap as I thought.
No, surprising that one. I think that's how they ended up realistically. And I thought there was going to be a little bit more back and forth. There wasn't, but it's not the end of the world.
It wouldn't have surprised me if Durelli went deep and locked up again into the hairpin, which caused West to check up, and Monty took advantage of that. But then obviously West has got the spot back. So,
well, it looks like West has abandoned his fuel save strat. If the last couple of laps are anything to go by, just really sort of picking up the pace here.
Yeah, he really has.
It's felt like, for a little while now, someone needs to take this group by the scruff of the neck and do something with it. I mean, Marco Pinero, there's no bar a mistake from him, or if he gets, spun off track by a back marker or something like that. There's nobody's catching him. That's 9 seconds.
Yeah.
It is now.
Yes. Yeah. It's going to be tough to really in. Oh, Durelli's in for pit. Or short of a penalty, like you said, a mistake penalty on pit for Pinero would obviously change that dynamic quite a bit. But yeah, Durelli in first of that group, that second pack. And so we'll see what his pit time. We did see that with a returning driver in the Formula Ford race where it just wasn't really, missed his pit timings, didn't set his fuel or something. But Dorelli, 10.2, so I think he's on the mark.
Yes, it's not looking like a day for the front. Well, both of them qualified in. Actually, no, Alex Wenger qualified on pole, didn't he?
He did.
Pushing Kabanka to set up a second. Talking of which, where is our Formula Ford winner? He's not in this fight, is he? So that explains that one. I was thinking I haven't seen his name for this race, so that explains that. But, well, yeah, West is now taking this one by the scruff of the neck, and it looks like to me, Charles, he's getting away from them. I mean, someone call an ambulance because West is on fire.
Yeah, he definitely is pulling a gap. He's up to 8/10. So yeah, you see it here is that pack is a little bit smaller now, as West is kind of pulled out on his own. So obviously, we talked about him at the beginning of the race being pretty high up in the qualifying, and it's showing that he's got the pace on this track and he's going to run well.
That gap will shrink again due to the slipstream, but where West seems to be crucially really strong is through all the twisty sections, which there's plenty of on the 300 layout here, of course, named because it's 3 kilometers in length. Although, well, if we were really, really pedantic, it's actually 2.969 kilometers. But, that's, well, I would say it's early. No, it's not.
No, it's really not. Yeah, everybody should be coming in the next couple of laps. And we see the leader. We also got West and Monty in, so the top 3 cars are now in the pits.
Over Street Race, Green, Dantes, Gardini, Renders all carry on. So who else is yet to stop? Favini and Gould, Phil Berry visits pit road, Perry into Gradwell, Nunez. There's quite a lot of drivers who are leaving it late here, so there's a hive of activity down on pit road. As Panero comes out, probably where he wouldn't have wanted to. Behind Bradford Gould, Andrea Favini, who is his teammate, so it's not the end of the world, that one, but nevertheless, looking a little bit of traffic, and they are having their own battle right now. But he can afford to lose time. There as well. Dorelli, not lost too much time, has he?
He
From
has
that, because West is come out right in front of him.
Yep, so that was a good stop by him.
This is still busy now. It's one of the busiest pit roads I've ever seen today.
Yeah, it seems like there's a big group just coming in every lap here for the next couple of 3 laps. I think this might be the last, when the leaders come by the next time, this may be the last opportunity to come in and pit before you run out of fuel. So I can't imagine them going another lap, but I guess it's possible.
Find out, Charles. We're not far away from finding out because they completed, well, nearest down at 3/4 of the lap onto the brakes. They come through Bundle and Nelson. Overstreet's, well, should be the first and probably the only driver to lead that is not Marco Panero in this race, and it's only going to be for 1 lap. This is his dominance. But Race, Green, some strong names there. Dantas, this is falling off the back of this group. Really, really fallen by the wayside. He's 4.3 seconds behind them, so gutting for the Brazilian. But are they going to visit in? Here we go. We find out now. Yep. In they come.
There we go.
That's into who else is yet to start. Going to be coming in. Gardini, Brandes, Vimy, Gordon, and Darlow. Oh, race has crashed.
Wow. That was
I don't even know how he managed that. How do you manage that? So
I'm not sure.
The event log, I can see, obviously, I'm entering the pits. Maybe if we jump to that, it might tell us and find out exactly how he's binned it. Because it's weird, because it wasn't like he locks up coming into the pits, and that's how he binned it. So he's in.
It's not going to be good. Yep, it's not going to be a good camera angle there.
Well, as producer Josh just said, he reached for his beer, and it did look like that, and he's luckily, as he's already in the pit lane, he hasn't got very far to tow.
That's true. Yeah, it's a very quick tow, but still, it's still a few seconds lost. Obviously, that's taken him out of any chance he had of competing against Monty for the class win.
It does
But,
indeed. It's a
yeah.
shame. A real shame. Oh, hello. That's Durrelli ahead of West. They've moved up.
Yeah, so it's kind of stretched his pack a bit after the pit stops. You got 3/10 here, another half second back to Overstreet. As you can see her in the picture there.
And then we've got Jason Green 1.1 seconds down. He's got Marnie 7/10. So this is how Sergio Durrelli managed to get it done on Bobby West. A lovely textbook move into turn 1.
As you see Green and Overstreet coming out of the pits. Yep, nicely done. It was a nice, easy pass.
Just what we like to see. Just what we like to see. Well, this makes it an interesting 7 minutes remaining of this race, doesn't it? For who's going to get these last podium spots.
It does. It seems like Overstreet maybe is picking up the pace just a bit now.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, it's Epton played this quite a bit. Just for the extent of Murray's. Okay, it's good from Durrelli, so
yep.
That's gonna
a good line for all three.
It's gonna age on a bit West. It's whether Durrelli might lose a couple of places. Now, I mean, coming on to that last lap, surely you don't want to be, unless you've got a healthy margin, you don't want to be leading this group, especially that run onto the back straight away.
No, you don't. I think you're absolutely right. I think that you know, we've seen over the course of the season, the tow is very powerful in these cars. Yeah, if you're within a couple of tenths of the car in front or car behind, you're gonna get overtaken, or they're at least going to challenge you for that if they get a good run out of the corner.
Yes, it's looking positive on that. Burnt as Green pushing it now, kicking a bit of dust on corner exit. Marnie doing the same thing where he's following the same line. These two really need Durrelli and West to start battling.
Yeah, you know, they obviously that's what they're hoping for, is those cars going side by side, gives them a chance to make up that ground. But you know, I was watching Overstreet where she's kind of made up that gap. There was a little bit of a gap there, a half second, a little more, that she's made up on West. I think she's turned up the wick a bit also after the pit stop, and so she may be challenging West for that final podium position as well.
Just keeping half an eye as well, Charles. We've got a brilliant battle ensuing with Jeff Jakeson from Spec 1 leading our top 3 in Spec 2, who are Linus Stern, Pocock, Berry and Justice. So with 5 minutes remaining, that's really crescendoing into a symphony of a final potential. You see how much Justice is pushing. Is a bit twitchy there, and all of them kicking up dust, especially Justice. Well, Justice, if you've got one exit to burn, my friend, you don't get any points for keeping on them come the end, so just use them all up tactically. Yeah,
that's right. You can't carry them with you for the next race. Also, the final spot on the Masters is was Nunez and I'll find him on the list here.
Gradwell.
So I lost him on Gradwell. So yeah, so they're within a second of each other also. So there'll be another battle that we'll have to keep an eye on. Like I said, for that final spot, as we see Gradwell going as far off the line as he possibly can and still able to keep some momentum. You can see Nunez right behind him.
So it's all coming together nicely, isn't it?
It is indeed.
Brewing up. It's hard to know where to look. I mean, we could do 3 different camera angles, realistic, being played out live. Ooh, hold on. Jason Green has managed to pull out a load of time against the Durrelli West Overstreet trio.
Yeah, I just noticed that also. Yeah, it's about to be a 5-car battle for basically fighting over P3, P2 and P3. So yeah, that's going to make. We see that car slow there on the outside.
Shot like leaning that marker there. And well, Green now, thanks to the power of the slipstream, is going to eat this lot up for breakfast and come right in. Dorelli loses a place to West. Probably Overstreet, who's on, well, you see him on drivers left right now as, oh, it all gets a little bit tentative as the stakes are raised here at Snetterton. And now Green and Marnie of there, you called it, and you were spot on. Wow.
Yeah.
They're all one another.
They are, and you just once the front cars go side by side, it's just brings everybody behind up a little bit closer. So now you've got a 5-car battle here, essentially for P2 and P3 on the overall podium. Which I'm sure any of these drivers would be happy with.
Well, you see how much he's chasing to Jason Green as he ran wide coming out of Murray's. Dorelli loses another spot. Was white flag in the air? No, it was not, Charles. Good news. We've not got one lap. We've got 2 laps left to go.
There we go. Yeah, so we got one. We got this and another lap. So now we've got West that's kind of in that target zone as the leader of this pack. So he's gonna have to be very, very smart on his corners, especially that final corner going into the back straight. Can't get it wrong now. You got to be spot on. Otherwise, you're going to get just overwhelmed.
You'll get absolutely fell up, won't you? Bad news for fans of Masters category because Kurt Nunes has lost about 4 attempts. And these lot have spaced off a little bit. Pocock has got away from burying Justice. Although I can feel that's maybe because we saw the aftermath from just fighting away there. Nice. It's music to Caleb Pocock's ears, isn't it?
Yeah, it's extended just a little bit, but Pocock's now sitting there behind Jacobson. So it's he's hoping that Jacobson's just running quick enough lap times that it's not going to slow him down. Otherwise, it's just going to be back together again as we see Overstreet almost bump drafting down that straightaway.
Might be wise to do so. Because, well, would have been wise to do so because it would have given them a bit more of a gap over Dorelli, Green and Marnie to maybe just try to eke it out that a little bit. Maybe would we see her do it down the front straight away? It would be wise potentially because, like I say, I have a strong, nasty feeling if commentating around this place has told me over the years, don't be on the lead on the last lap.
Which should be this lap, I believe.
Let's have a look. Where is Barney? Well, he's not in somewhere obvious, but what I can tell you, white flag is in the air. We have 1 lap left to go. So
Overstreet moved to the outside.
Oh, hello.
And made it stick. Nicely done.
But she now leads the train.
He does.
Was that maybe intentional from West? He's on an absolute flyer.
Yeah, I mean it's a dangerous strategy to let somebody take a position on the last lap. But maybe he thinks he can get a good run down this back straight. We've got this little straight here, another little technical section of corners, and then we'll find out.
That we will be in the Charles. In fact, the first time that West has finished on the podium this season. I'm sure he's had podiums in the past, but even so. Chance for a second here today. It's the high stakes winner takes all aspect of those last 2 podium positions. We've got just over a second covering these 5 cars. What's happening down in Spec 2? Well,
way wide.
Well, here we go, Charles. We'll find out now. Spec 2's looking pretty sorted to really. Oh, he's slowed down. But here comes West for second place up the inside. He's going to get it done, Charles. What's the answer? Overstreet. God, she keeps sending those just in there. But with the outside, with the momentum, West carries it. And could well have just carried himself all the way to second place here from Snetterton.
Still we got because we got a battle behind with Green and Overstreet for that final podium position. I wonder if, Dorelli's still there. So I wonder if he had a slowdown.
Could well potentially. Well, there comes Marco Panero. He's won this one by nearly 13 seconds. But what's happening behind? West is going to take second. And Overstreet looks like she's just held on for long enough. Dorelli's going to drive through.
Yeah, that's going to drop him way down the order. But yeah, That was a great battle there between West Overstreet. Green tried to get in there and make something happen as well. So yeah, great last couple of laps there between those drivers.
Durelli can't take a penalty, he can't serve it on the last lap. So
No.
I feel he may well, because his pit box is well over the start-finish line.
He's going to get a 40-second penalty at the end of the race.
So he's showing his 7th at the moment, but he will not finish there.
No.
If what we believe has happened has happened. Pocock's going to win Spec 2. What's happening behind him? Well, Phil Berry's done enough. He holds on ahead of Josh Justice as the top 3 comes across there. Tom Gradwell did enough in Masters to secure a podium.
There we go.
In the background, I think it's that Bradshaw having a right battle with Jason Perry, half a 10th at the line.
Yeah, and we didn't mention Fritcher the entire race, but a P2 in the Masters class. Great job, Jeff Fritcher. Good job.
Yeah, just a
quiet race. Yeah, just a quiet race.
I don't think we even mentioned him since the start, Charles.
I don't remember saying his name. So yeah, I think you're right. As we obviously this was very much a Marco Pinero start to finish race. But we still saw some great battles in the mid-pack, some battles for podium positions and class positions. So, yeah, it was fantastic to watch, and I still say I like this track.
Well, it definitely delivers on action, doesn't it? We can't disagree on that whatsoever. Well, just waiting for the last few drivers to come across the line, and we can bring up some classified results here from Snetterton. And that is, yeah, I'm just having a quick look through my records. That's Caleb Pocock. Although it's his 2nd win, he managed to score a win in Spec 2 at VIR. So there we go. A good result for him nonetheless. Phil Berry, that is his first. No, he had the win back at Phillip Island. Yes, I remember speaking to him after that. That's what he told us. He gets up the Crack Sparrows on a Monday morning to come and race here in the Weekend Warriors. So there's how they all started in qualify. And well, that's little did we know that was quite behind at Pinero. That's how they were going to finish, and Pinero is his 5th win of the season. Bobby West, first time on the podium this season. I'm not even sure overall, but even so, a stellar drive from the Britain's home track. Overstreet finishes 3rd, Marnie 4th with the win in Masters. That's Green down test renders. Notice there's no name there of Sergio Girelli, so yes, definitely a penalty for him. Let's find out where he came out in all that. But Gardini, Fritcher, as you said, 2nd in Masters, downward, running out your top 10 for the Mexican of Adria Favini, Andalo and Gould. They've got Gradwell with that last podium place in 14th overall for Masters. Then Nunez, Cathcart, Jacobson, Pocock, your winner in Spec 2 is 18th, with 19th to 20th being 2nd and 3rd in Spec 2. Berry and Justice. Sergio Girelli demoted to 21st. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a burn. That's a deep burn, that one.
It is.
Andrew and Bradshaw, 22nd. There's Perry, Young, Gibson, who is going to hold on to the Spec 2 Championship lead with that one. Gianni Longin, Alan Johnson, Paul Jackson. Then we've got Jeff Cantor. He had a quiet race. Alan McCain, on the contrast, had definitely not a quiet race and finished 30th. Then we've got Mitchell, Brewster and Warbot, last drivers on the lead lap. Michelle leading 1 lap down. And then retirements race, we lost him in lap 14. Same with Brackenbury. Lynn on lap 7 with Wishen and Nelson not making the start. Let's have a look. Let's chat to some of our drivers where I've moved for some reason. There we go. Right, first off, I'll tell you what, let's have a chat to, didn't get a win today, but an astounding result nonetheless. Bobby West joins us now. Bobby, you timed that one to perfection, my friend. I said, you don't want to lead this one coming on to the last lap, and was it deliberate that you let Overstreet past, or were you just going for it, with hard racing?
Yeah, it came from a lap before. It's nice to speak to you, by the way.
It is.
115 races I've done in this series, and this is my 3rd podium, so it's hard work to get to talk to you. Let's put it that way.
It is. Well, great to have you. It's been a long time coming, hasn't it? But nonetheless, my friend, I mean, Is it just Snetterton that is a track that works for you? Because of late, it just seems to have, it's been bubbling away. There's almost like there's something starting to click with you in this car.
Yeah, I have peaks and troughs with this car. And I tell you what, on Thursday we did a race and I was nowhere. So yeah, it all sort of came together. I had plenty of time this afternoon to practice. So yeah, it helped. And yeah, going back to your original question. So I had to get ahead to let someone go back past. So it all worked out very well. Thanks to Megan for her assistance.
Yeah, and also thanks for in the mid stage of the race, closing up onto the back of you so we could read your Instagram handle.
Oh yeah. Feel free to follow.
Yes, we gave it a shout. It took us a couple of attempts to try and read it, but luckily she had a bit of a lunge. I mean, in terms of what was happening in front of you, though, we heard you fuel saving quite a bit. Was that your strat? Because you seem to abandon that about halfway through the race and seem to be going hell for leather.
Oh no, I was definitely trying to save as much as I could until I got to the front when Sergio pitted, and then I thought I'll try and push a bit. But yeah, no, I was trying to save because I thought that the people behind me are doing it, so I need to take advantage where I can.
Well, and you took advantage with maximum results. Bobby, congratulations. I hope we get to speak to you more often and there's more podium finishes for you.
Thank you very much. Can I just say hi to my mum and dad who watch us every week, and especially my mum who's recently had an operation, so she's in no recovery at the moment. So just say hi to them.
Well,
Thank you.
Most certainly. Hello, the Wests, and well, yeah, good to know that we haven't watched listen each week. Oh, great to have so many of you on board. That's Bobby West with second place here today from Snetterton. And Charles, well, no guesses for who you always pick.
I mean, you know, it's. I like talking to York. So York, hey, welcome back. Congratulations. Got the double today. Interesting. It was a really interesting race. We always talk about who's fuel saving and who's not. And I probably know the answer to this already. But did you do any fuel saving in the first part of that race?
Not really. I really tried to hang on to it. I could almost not hang on to it. I really had to drive full throttle all the time. I did not fuel safe at all.
There we go. I didn't think so. But it's always good to ask. So, Tim and I are kind of on opposite ends of this. I like the track. I like driving the track. Tim, not so much. Although is really good, as we saw today, a lot of good action. So how do you feel about Snetterton?
I'm totally with Tim in that section, actually. So I'm not really a fan of this track, but yeah, I survived it, so it might be actually still good.
Oh, there we go. You got the win, so congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks a lot, and good night.
Caleb, well, I mean, quietly chipping away all race, but just talk us through those closing stages, because you had Jeff Jacobson in front of you, and then you had Phil Berry and Josh Justice tagged right behind you. I mean, I'm guessing you might need a shower after that one because you were sweating so much, or were you feeling much more calm and collecting and cool in the car?
I was sweating pretty much the whole race because I had a bad qualifying effort and Philip was way up there, so I'm like, I had to be perfect. And I was doing a good job until I started doing fuel calculations and making mistakes. And then I came out of the pits and I saw him behind me. I'm like, oh, this is going to be interesting. And then I was really sweating there for a while. And then I'm like, I need Phil and Josh to start racing each other. And when they started racing each other, I was able to get a little bit of a gap. And I'm like, all right, this is what I needed to hold on.
And when you saw that happen, did that make you think, I might have a little try at Jeff Jacobson? Or were you just like, right, no, let's consolidate it, stay where I am, play it safe, and secure that first place in Spec 2?
I was all about playing it safe at that point, unless he made a big slip up, and it wouldn't be beneficial to stay behind him. I was just content to ride.
Well, just seeing replay right now, if you're having to take evasive action to get around Jacobson, I think the early stages of the race, just sort of talk us through that moment, if you can sort of remember it. I mean, down at the hairpin, Montreal, it can get a little bit crazy down there at times.
Yeah, I actually think I had two issues down there where someone spun at me and I had to take evasive action. So I was lucky I didn't hit anybody.
Yes, I think that might have been the one that involved Alan McCain and Jim Brewster, I think, was the other one. Although we're seeing another one of yourself and Kurt Nunes, so it could well be that as well. But anyway, you know, I just talk about this circuit. I mean, it is really narrow, isn't it, out there? It's quite deceiving.
Yeah, I actually like this track. I usually don't like flat tracks, but you know, it's not very popular because it's a paid track and people don't know about it. But it's actually a pretty fun track. I enjoy this layout.
Being British, you'd think I'd like it, but I'm not a fan personally. But Charles loves it, so there you go. 2 Americans loving something British. It shows miracles do happen. Well, congratulations either way. Caleb Pocock, you win it here today in Spec 2. But Charles, I'll tell you what, I'll let you. Well, I know we're well over time, but I'll let you squeeze in a quick chat with Megan. She sat there patiently waiting.
Yeah, Megan, hey, P3 today. Congratulations, good race out of you. It looked like you had the pace to compete up there. Obviously, you know, minus Marco, who was he basically checked out. So, talk about your race and your strategy today.
My strategy was mainly just trying to work my way up to the field since I started in 7th. I knew it's very hard to pass here unless someone in front of you makes a big mistake. And I got lucky that I was able to slowly weave my way forward throughout the race. And then I had a really good pit stop where I took a little bit more fuel than I did in the Formula 4 just so I wouldn't have a heart attack at the end of the race. But I couldn't fight Bobby off on that last lap going down the backstretch. I didn't get a great exit coming out of the corner, and they just gobbled me up. But I was still lucky to have a great battle for 3rd.
Yeah, it really was a tremendous battle with you and West. Then Jason Green obviously tried to stick his nose in and challenge you for that spot also, but you managed to hold him off and got a P3 out of it.
Yep.
All right, well, congratulations. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right.
And that is all we've got time for. Talking of next week, we head well, a short distance across the UK, width-wise. We're going up to Alton Park in Cheshire on the historic island layout. So that's without any of the chicane. So that's going to be a little bit of a wild one. Oh, Charles knows it already.
That's going to be fun.
Oh, it is. That's it. It's going to be hold on for dear life. Also, just a side note, LMP2 around there, just hot lapping on that version of the circuit is incredible fun. I'll try that one out if you own the car and got a bit of spare time. Thoroughly recommend it. And the Lotus 79 actually. Pretty much anything around Alton Park. But that's nonetheless we will be there in a week's time here on Apex Racing TV. And the SRF Weekend Warriors presented by Ray Esports returns. I've been Tim Cox with Charles Michelle and Josh Wilkie. Thank you very much for joining us. I will see you there. Good night.
Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.